everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Self-Improvement Project. I hope everybody is doing well. I recently noticed that we were 2/3 of the way through 2021, and as per these sort of things, it makes you reflect on not just how quick the year has gone, but what have I achieved, or what am I proud of that I've consistently kept up during this time. So just some food for thought at the beginning of this episode. I want to start, as I'm starting to do with some of these episodes, is just to say thank you first for the messages that people are sending, for reaching out. I actually think it might be like one of my favourite parts of doing this project is hearing your stories, hearing your experiences in relation to some of the things that I touch on in the podcast episodes. And obviously in the episodes throughout them, I ask quite big questions, and I love hearing your answers to those questions. So if you've reached out to me, thank you. If you want to, please do, because I love hearing from people. Today's episode: to be in or to be out of your comfort zone. That's the question. This was inspired by a question that someone who asked me about it. So you know who you are, and thank you for doing so, because it's created this episode. So let's start with a common and motivational sort of phrase. The only way you can grow is by pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. This is quite a commonly thrown about phrase, can be linked to the trend of the growth mindset over the last decade or so. And the sentiment of this phrase is good. The application of it is bollocks. Let me share why that is. There is a reason that we cannot rely on motivational quotes for our continual progress. This is because it's perishable. You might read one motivational quote, it will motivate you for a certain period of time, and then it is gone. You cannot get that back. It is literally impossible to stay motivated 24/7, 365 days of the year. Therefore, it is unrealistic to base all of our growth on being outside of our comfort zone. So, why is it so prevalent and profound that this is so key to our success? And also, how do we utilize this concept in the best way? First of all, it's important to recognize that we do need it. We do need this concept of pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone. We need it in times of intensity. A wee push, a goal. You might be needing it to prove yourself in a new job or a new career, or when starting a new fitness regime. Your comfort zone is definitely stopping you from progressing in these times with those examples. I like to think of it as like that moment before deciding to exercise. you'll do everything to avoid it. You'll fill your time procrastinating, doing little things so that you just don't need to exercise. And that moment is when you need to hear this phrase. So, how do we utilize pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone when we're tired, we're demotivated, or maybe we're just a bit despondent with life? The answer for this is consistency. You create a habit. You don't need to think about it. It's subconscious. I was chatting to someone the other week who is a long distance runner, and obviously running is a very difficult thing to G yourself up for, but it's part of their identity. They consistently do long runs once a week and runs during the week, so it's not a fact that they need to think about it. They just put their shoes on, they tie their laces, and they go. Another good example of this is the concept of learning and wealth of knowledge that you have and have had throughout your life. All of this knowledge and learning throughout the time period of from when you went to school to now has come as a result of your constant and consistent learning throughout life. It's a bank. You didn't choose to learn for 1 year only so that you could sit one test. This is lifelong learning. And even though at times, for example, you've got an assessment or a test, you'll have pushed yourself out of your comfort zone for that, most of the time, you won't have. You're continually trundling along at a pace where you're doing something, but not to maximum effort. Over the last handful of years, I've realised that the power of just turning up and doing the minimum consistently, whether it's every day, every week, can have such a huge long-term impact. So give yourself a bit of a break. Don't fill yourself with guilt when you feel like you're not pushing yourself out your comfort zone. It's about balance. Think, what are you currently working on that doesn't rely on huge amounts of uncomfortable maximal effort, but will help you improve in the long term? A personal example for me is this podcast. I do it once a week. I have done for a year and a bit now, and I don't feel that I'm pushing myself to the maximum every single day out of my comfort zone with this. There's been times where I have, but not all the time. And if I did, I'd burn out and I'd start to resent it. And then nobody wins. This gives me flow. But those topics that I just touched on are maybe for another day. So have a think about that. And that's us. I hope that has provoked your thought. I hope that has allowed you to view your comfort zone in a slightly different way today. And I hope everybody has a great week. I've mentioned this on the last few as well. I have a Sunday email that I have, where I have some more kind of thought-provoking stuff that is a nice way to start a calming day, as well as a free ebook that I created a couple of months ago, and that is in the email as well, all around the 5 steps to improve your life, touching on some of the things that I touch on these episodes, but maybe in a wee bit more of a compacted space. So thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.